Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to 3 true night shift horror stories, animated. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing more reaction videos like these. But yeah, let's get into the video. Story number 1.
It all happened on a Tuesday night. The phone rang just as I was about to crack open a beer and sit down on the couch.
Damn, my man was trying to get litty, bro. Look, he got what's that? He got his book, his Ducato beer. What the fuck? The B is lowercase, so he was drinking some fugazi shit. That's supposed to be Bacardi, but that should say Ducato. Then he got the roses. I don't even know what that. They look like nuts. He eating nuts and drinking beer and reading books. That's cool, man.
Wasn't expecting any calls, much less from the cemetery where I worked. I'll tell you the truth. I hated that job, but it paid well and someone had to do it. It didn't have bad hours and, well, someone had to do it. Anyway, on the other end of the line was my boss in a tense, hurried tone of voice.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of these workplaces got snakes, you feel me? And this boss right here, he knew someone had to die that night, and he recruited my homie right here. He recruited him and was like, somebody's gotta die, and it ain't gonna be me. Sometimes you gotta watch out for stuff like that. Me, personally, if my boss call me and tell me to come in for a night shift, and he sound hurried, I'm gonna be like, yo, I took a Viagra. It's gonna be a hard time for me. Yeah, I would tell him that. Sometimes you gotta lie your way out of a situation, and that's what I would have done.
Richard had an accident on the way to the cemetery. He's unconscious and in the hospital. I need you to cover his shift.
Well, Richard, I'm sorry, man. You gotta die.
Tonight. I didn't have much choice. I was mad as hell, but I agreed, cursing under my breath. I got dressed and drove to the cemetery.
Yo, I'll take that back. I'm sorry.
It was a quiet, cold night. I had already been cold all weekend and had only been able to rest on Monday. The last thing I needed was to work 3 or 4 days a week. I arrived at the cemetery and found everything quiet, as usual. I checked the security checkpoint, picked up the flashlight and the radio, and started my shift. I walked along the paths, passing by rows in disrepair. It was funny how many people could be afraid of the place. Once you get used to it, it is kind of monotonous. As you can imagine, it wasn't my first time working nights. In fact, it was almost the only shift I ever worked. Every night was really boring, and this one was no exception.
He was security at the cemetery, my guy. I'm not gonna lie. Why out of all jobs you would be a security guard at a cemetery? Who are you stopping, man? Man, there are literally people who are dead right now and they have enemies, and those enemies will stop at nothing just to piss on their grave, stop at nothing just to shoot up there. My man, do he got a gun? He don't even got a gun. This was destined to happen, man. And that's why Richard got into that accident. He thought he was Superman. He got super shot.
After a couple of hours doing rounds, the routine had started to lull me to sleep. Everything was so quiet and predictable that I almost wished something would break the calm. But when something finally happened, I knew I had wished for the wrong thing.
You definitely
On one of the laps around the perimeter of the cemetery, I saw something that shouldn't be there. In the background, in an area that was rarely visited, there was a reddish glow. At first, I thought someone was setting a fire, perhaps a group of gothic teenagers trying to perform some small ritual. This happened more than you'd think. All I had to do was shine a flashlight on them and they'd run away. But as I got closer, I realized that this was much worse.
I'm not gonna lie, from the looks of what he's seeing, he sees somebody spread eagle at someone's grave, making love to it. Sometimes it gets that devious.
A group of hooded...
Nah, man. Nah. I take that back. These niggas is the demons.
People were gathered around a fire. These were not teenagers, and the group was quite large. What I saw next made my blood run cold. They were digging up a corpse. The movements were methodical, as if they had done this many times before.
Yo, you see homie right? Yo, he's half dead. He's half dead. These niggas is the occult. This is what goes on, man. I'm not being a security guard here. You make me a security guard here, I gotta at least have a bad bitch waiting in the office for me to suck me after this shift. This is insane. What is this, man? I would be the worst security guard. Everybody's getting dug up. I'm not staying here for the night. No. Damn, poor person. Matter of fact, this ain't no poor. These niggas is digging up they homie, man. Fuck him.
At that moment, I realized I was really in danger. I pulled out my phone with trembling hands and
I thought he said I pulled out my gun. I would have pulled out my gun. You literally did the most world star thing in the world. You pulled out your phone and recorded. You know, I knew he had some black in him. I knew it.
Recorded the scene.
And it ain't that type of black either. Chill.
My heart was pounding in my ears as I sent the video to my boss, not thinking too hard about what I was doing. Fear began to grip me. I knew I couldn't just stand there watching what they were doing. I needed to hide somewhere safe.
Nigga, run, bro. That's the only thing you can really do. You want to be in that grave with their dead homie, man? Run, man.
And call the police. I ran carefully to my sentry box, but as I was about to enter, I saw something that paralyzed me. Two of those hooded men were in front of the sentry box.
Yo, I just shat on myself.
Going through my belongings. They were moving calmly, but seemed confused about something. That's when I realized something. Until then, they didn't expect to find my things. They were realizing...
Yo, I just shat on myself, yo. Yo.
that I
don't care, bro. I'm gonna continue the video.
was in the cemetery. I felt a shiver run down my spine. I couldn't go back there. Those guys were waiting for me. I decided to flee to the back door, a seldom used access that hardly anyone knew about. It was my only way out. I ran with my heart in my throat, keeping to the shadows, praying they wouldn't see me. But when I reached the back door, I saw that it was covered by two other hooded men. They were vigilant.
My nigga, you was not militant, bro. You should, bro, I'm telling you, if you go to a cemetery and you already see a ritualistic activity going on, you should know they got goons waiting for you at the exit. You shouldn't have took this shift, bro. There's a reason why Richard is fucked up. These niggas did it to Richard. Richard is dead. Say goodbye to Richard, man. Richard is not with us anymore. Richard is in a coma. Richard is dead.
Watching for any movement. I hid behind a nearby sarcophagus, trying to control my breathing. Adrenaline was hitting me hard and I could barely think straight. I was trapped. There was no way out. Then a flashlight moved in my direction, illuminating my hiding place. They had found me. I didn't think, I just reacted. I jumped up and...
My nigga, you should have a gun with you at all times. Yo, is that a set of eyes looking at him?
ran me the man with the flashlight. After that, I just kept running, not knowing where to, just panicking. The hooded men were shouting something, but I didn't stop to listen.
Them niggas look crazy. What the fuck?
Heard their footsteps behind me. They were chasing me. Desperation gave me speed, but I knew I couldn't run forever. I saw the cemetery wall in the distance. This was the lowest wall, but it was still quite high. If I could reach it, I could jump over it and escape, and I ran with all my strength. If I didn't make this jump, I would die. Yeah. When I reached the wall, I jumped and managed to catch myself with my hands on the edge, but I didn't have enough momentum to go up. I felt a hand grab my ankle and pull me down. I screamed, kicking hard, trying to break free, but more hands joined.
Why he look like the boss? Why he look like the boss from the beginning of the video?
Then in an instant, I was on the ground, surrounded. I tried to struggle, to strike, but there were too many of them. I felt several blows on my head and the rest of my body. I began to scream.
Fight back, nigga, fight back!
In desperation, and one of them covered my mouth while the rest of them dragged me through the cemetery. Before I knew it, the hooded men had taken me to the center of their ritual. The air was permeated with the acrid smell of smoke and, worse, something putrid. I looked around, dazed, and saw the leader of the cult. His face was hidden under a black hood, but they were clearly staring at me. I was bound hand and foot, unable to resist. I was weak, confused, scared. They led me to an open sarcophagus, and when I saw it, I felt my stomach turn. Inside was a corpse in an advanced state of decomposition. Flesh hung in shreds.
Yo, what's up with these niggas enjoying doing this shit, man? I can't be near this. I can't be near this.
From the bones, and the stench was unbearable.
Smell like shit.
Before I could
nigga.
react, I was thrown into the sarcophagus next to the corpse. I felt its cold, wet flesh against my skin. I couldn't scream, and I tried not to vomit
why
as
is
I
he
had
looking
tape
at
on
him,
my mouth,
man?
but the smell was too strong and
Why he
too
looking at him,
foul.
man?
I knew the smell could be worse, but since they had opened the sarcophagus much earlier, the concentrated smell was gone. That was the only thing that saved me that night from vomiting and choking. Anyway, at that moment, I thought I was dead. I tried to escape, but it was useless. They closed the sarcophagus and began to pour earth.
Yo, being buried alive is the most scariest thing you can ever. Bro, being buried alive is worse than catching your girl cheating, my nigga. Being buried alive, what you gonna do? You can't do nothing, bro. You're done. Damn.
Over it. The darkness enveloped me completely, and all I could do was try to scream and cry as they buried me alive next to that corpse. Time passed and passed, and I was squeezed, feeling the spaces getting smaller and smaller, understanding that soon I would run out of air or die in this small space. I don't know how much time passed. The silence was absolute, except for my gasping breaths and the sobs I could not contain. The air in the sarcophagus.
This is why you should have stayed home and drunk that fake ass Bacardi. Now you're gonna die with this nigga whose heart is ripped out of his body, whose face is mangled. Come on, you should have stayed home and ate nuts and drunk beer, bro. Come on.
Sarcophagus was thick,
Come on.
charged with the putrefaction of the corpse next to me. Despair was taking me, and every second that passed brought me closer to madness. Then, suddenly, the sound of the earth falling on the sarcophagus ceased. The voices outside died away, leaving a sepulchral silence. I banged my head on the lid, screaming for help, though I knew no one would hear me. But, against all odds, the lid began to lift.
This is some bullshit. Last time somebody opened up a corpse like this was Friday the 13th, part number 6. Come on.
Light and fresh air entered the sarcophagus as I saw the faces of the policeman and my boss.
Nigga, his boss was the one who gooned him.
Air entered the sarcophagus as I saw the faces of the policeman and my boss.
Bro, the boss looked like one of the cult members, bro. Am I bugging out?
I felt a huge relief, so much so that I almost fainted. As soon as he woke up and saw the message, my boss called the police, who arrived just in time. The hooded men fled out the back door as soon as they heard the sirens. I was rushed to the hospital immediately. Part of me still thought I was dreaming. I was still with the corpse and was going completely crazy, but
Oh shit, Richard not dead, bro. Richard is fucked up, though. I'm glad Richard is alive.
after a while, I could understand that it was all over. After much discovery and questioning by the police, Richard, the man I covered his shift for, told me what had really happened. He was part of that cult, and he
Whoa.
let them into the cemetery during his shifts to perform their rituals.
What, nigga? Yo.
Everything was planned for that night, but his accident ruined everything. He couldn't let them know he wouldn't be there, and that's why they found me. That night, I was supposed to die. The only thing that saved me was that this sect was supposedly peaceful.
Yo, so if he knew he was gonna die and Richard was right, why didn't he swing on him, bro? Why didn't he throw the hand? He should have been like, yo, Richard, yo, look at the scar. Should have just socked this nigga out, man. He should have pounded him out. Like what that guy said in that video, he should have pounded him out, bro. Pause.
And although they also made sacrifices, they never shed blood. They had a law among them which said that man comes from nature and must perish in nature. And if the police did not arrive in time, that was going to happen. I was about to die suffocated in a crate next to another corpse eaten by maggots, and all because Richard, the other guard, ran a red light and had that accident.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I said, I'm glad Richard... No, this is why I said, Richard should have died, man. Come on, man. Richard should have paid for his consequences and died, man. Why? But listen, I'm not going to make the video longer. I'm just uploading this to see the views it gets. And if you guys want me to continue reacting to scary stories, let me know. It's your boy, King Shy, and I'm out. Peace.